Just go ahead and let us go to that church. You know, baby.
Well, when I was a boy, the church was very spiritual. They believed in worshiping uh, their very heart. Uh, no hypocrites. They didn't go for that. And so the revival was going on, and the men would have a little girls' meeting out away from the church up the road a little ways, late in the afternoon, just before 9 o'clock. And the ladies would have their girl meeting down the road the other way from the church. And they'd all pray and sing and preach to each other. And then they'd come back to the church for preacher's sermon. So one afternoon, they'd have their meetings in work. And a funny thing happened. They all got together, had a song or two down there in the bushes. And some old man called on Dr. Watson to lead the prayer. Well, Dr. Watson was a pretty fine old man, but if he had a lot of temper and stuff went wrong, he'd lose his religion and say things. So he's pretty spiritual. He knelt down to pray. And he's praying very sincerely. And all at once, he discovered that the yellow jackets were stinging him. He knelt down over and knelt the yellow jackets. And they began to sting him. He began to fight the yellow jackets. He began to use bad language. He should have prayed. And tell the men to move, get out of there. This yellow jackets. Yellow jackets broke up to me.
Oh, Grandpa. Okay. Okay.
One day, we have a special meeting in the church. Back when I was a boy, the old church house didn't have any seating on the wall. It was just weatherboarded. And the wind and the sun and the rain on this weatherboard had caused the weatherboard to bust up and split. And had cracks in it. You could sit on the inside of the church and look out outside. And so we had a very mischievous young man come out to church. And he is very much of a comedian. And he could take his fingers and turn his eyelids upside down. And he was the ugliest person you ever looked at. And he would scare the children. He'd get after the children with his eyes turned inside out. And he'd run the children off the church ground around there. So one day he was doing that at the church. So I could go out and peek in through those cracks that, on the weatherboard and look at the see some of the old women that sitting inside the church. Where are they? So he came around, put his eyes up on these cracks, and he's looking in at the women. There's one old lady sitting inside the house, old Granny Chandler was her name. And she wasn't eating her food, she had her mouth full of snuff. And she was very happy old lady. See this old boy put his eyes up the crack looking in at her in church. So she could hit anything, didn't put away, spit at it. And she spit so much. So, round of temper when she seen him put his eyes up there looking in at her. So she would go at this crack and splattered his eyes full of snuff. So he was burning his eyes. He run all around the place, I rubbing, working with his eyes. So That's one thing that happened that I'll never forget it. I thought I would have been in time. Hot weather. Yeah, I don't do it well. He tries to find some watch myself to put out the well and get a bucket of water bringing in. We were glad to do it, so we was two of the most mischievous boys in school, so we took off down there. We were sure we'd run into something. And well, anyway, we threw up the bucket of water on the well, and there's a great big fat toad frog in the water. We was very glad to see that frog. That was nice things for us to see. So we took him on the schoolhouse, set him in there on the table, the bucket, set the bucket on the table, please. We went back to sit down, wait to see who would be first. So a little while, great big old tall barefooted boy got up. He's tongue-tied, he couldn't talk good. He got up, went up to the bucket to get him a drink of water, and he got over the dipper handle and he picked himself up and reached over to dip him up some water, and there was that big frog swimming around and around in the bucket. So he looked at us boys, then he looked at the teacher. And he ran back, told the teacher about it. He was tongue-tied, he couldn't talk good, and he said, Mr. Adams, them old boys brought an old frog in the water in here. So the teacher ran up there, his little red-headed, high-tempered feller. He ran up there and looked at the frog, picked up his big switch head on the table, and he come back after us. And he met Finus first. And Finus was one of the smoothest liars you ever seen. He said, teacher says, well, Mr. Adams, was there really a frog in there? He said, oh, yes, there's a frog in there. He said, Mr. Adams, we didn't see the frog. We just drew the water right up out of the well and didn't notice what was in the bucket. We just poured it in there and we'd busy talking. We came on in with it. We didn't see the frog. You know, there's a frog in there. So he talked us out of a whipping. We didn't get no whipping. He let us go that time. Did you get that?
Yeah. Okay, now.
And dug a grave and left it open all night. They was going to bury the body next day. So sometime during the night, some man came along and he stepped in it. He fell in the grave. Well, he tried to get out, and he'd fall back every time, and he finally gave it up, and he decided that he'd just sit down in there and wait until day and he'd get help. So he sat down back at the end of the grave there, waiting. And something like 30 minutes later, this big old tall colored boy came along. He stepped over in there, he fell in it. And he jumped in and fall back, and he jumped up and fall back, and the white man sat back at the end of the grave. He said, no need to try to jump out, but you can't do it. And right then the nigger just flew out of it, and he left. He got it on. Well, when I was a young man, just beginning to raise a family, I had children at home, first Eve, and that's before Mercy was born. And I was driving a team of Mustang ponies to a hack. And I was selling chronic medicine extracts in Cleveland County, Arkansas. And I used the city of Rising for my headquarters. So I would have my goods shipped in there on the train and then leave it at Mr. Walden's store or warehouse. And I would peddle out of that town over the county. So I was a stranger down there. I didn't know anybody. It's new territory for me. So late one afternoon, about sunset, I drove up to a nice looking home. I stopped my horses. I hollered, hello. And this young man came out and met me. And I said, well, young man, I'm a traveling salesman. And I said, I'd like to spend the night with you people. I don't know anywhere else to go. I'm a stranger down here and I need to stay somewhere. And it's almost night now. And this young man says, well, I wouldn't know what to say about that. He says, as I'm boarding here myself, people know this place are going to rise to a show. They'll not be in until late tonight. I said, well, all right, stay somewhere. And I said, I don't know where else to go. And I says, are they pretty nice people? He said, yes, they are. They're fine folks. I said, well, if they was here now, what do you think they'd do? Do you think they'd let me stay tonight, or would they turn me down? Well, he said, no, they'd let you stay. And I said, well, okay, suppose put these ponies up in the barn. I'll just stay with you. He said, well, all right, just drive your hack on down there to the barn. So we put up, and I ate supper with him. After supper then, I noticed they had an old-time organ in the home, and I happened to be pretty well up on that. And I played music for him that night till bedtime. And when bedtime came around, he said, well, we'll go back down to the room and go to bed. And they didn't have any electricity in the home. They used a whole lot of lamps. And so he took the lamp. I went with him, and we went down there. He put the lamp on a trunk, flat top trunk. And he said, well, you take that bed over there, and I'll take this one here. I said, well, okay. He said, sometime between 9 and midnight, well, they'll come in. I said, well, when they come, they'll find us here. I said, we'll be here. And, but in the meantime, there's something that I happen to know. She had a brother that had been gone for years. She has been getting letters from him. And he had promised her that he's going to slip in on her sometime and surprise her. I said, I just didn't know that. But anyway, when they came in, why, one of their daughters, called a girl, and a little girl, came back down in the room where I was to get the lamp. And the lamp come down there, and this girl struck a match right over my head on the wall and lit the lamp. Still didn't see me until she started out. When she started out of the room, why, she seen the bed look a little different. She looked back and she seen I was over there on it. She called on the Lord and ran out. So her mother, she scolded her, says, what's the matter? What are you running for? She says, Mama, there's some man that got on the bed. Says, I don't know who it is. And she says, give me the light. So I knew that old Sitz was coming in. And so here she come. There were kids she had. They all came and filled the door full, looking in it. And as the door at once, she figured it out that I was her brother Joe. And she was happy to see me, and she come right in after me. She's going to hug my neck. She said, Joe, what you doing? I said, well, I'm doing just fine. And she said, well, Joe, I'm so glad to see you. And she began to get right over there to love me up. And I began to plead with her that it wasn't Joe. And she said, oh, boy, you can't fool me. I know it's Joe. And so I had a hard time convincing her. Finally told her where I lived. I said, you've never seen me in your life. And told her my name. And so when she was convinced that she was wrong, then she went out about as fast as the girl did when she came. And so I guess that's about all of that I have to tell you right now. So before she did run out, why, she closed in on me so much there around the bed, trying to get her arm around me. They thought it Joe. So it was hot weather. All the cover I had over me was that thin bed sheet. And words, I was in the bed with my shirt tail almost. So she kept closing in on me, and I pulled that sheet around me and set up in the bed and played with her, trying to save myself, and I didn't want her husband to come in to leave me all hugged up with her. And so finally, when she did get out, why, I was happy for her to go. The next morning, I got up at getting up time. The old man, we had in there talking. We watched her, prepared for breakfast. After a while, one of the big girls came in and she said, "Daddy, breakfast." So we went in, walked to the kitchen. I met this old lady in the kitchen. I said, "Good morning, lady." I said, "Does this look like Joe this morning?" So she was very much embarrassed. She said, "Yes, it does." Said, "You still look just exactly like it." And so it was a lot of fun there. We had a whole lot of fun about it. And the people in the community found it out. They all teased her about it. But they didn't know when to quit. So that's about all of the story. Well, never forget, back in 1916, I was selling this medicine extracts, the Raleigh Medicine Company. I was going from house to house in the country. And, so late one evening, I made a deal with a man to spend the night with him, he and his family. And it was hot weather. And so they gave me a room to sleep in that night. It had an east window to it. So the sun would rise up and shine through this east window right into my room. Springtime, the sun came up early. So I'll never forget. I went to bed that night. Weather was hot. I lay in there. It wasn't long till I felt something crawling around on my feet. And then it wasn't long, it was crawling around all over me. And I began to slap and knock and kick and scratch. And so I thought I had it pretty well ripped off. It wasn't long. It seemed like they went off and got all their kinfolks and brought them. And the whole bed was being covered with those little animals. And more bed bugs than I ever heard of. So I got up out of the bed and opened up my sample case and took out a can of insect powders. And I wanted to be pretty mild about it, and I didn't put very much on the bed. And I went back to bed. It helped for a little while. It wasn't long till the still morning ever came. So after I had put these powders on the bed, it seemed to help for a while, but anyway, not long. It soon came back more than ever. I decided I'd just give them a good treatment. So I got up and got my powders, and I put lots of it on my pillow and all over the bed. I went back to bed. There didn't another one bother me. It was dark through the night, of course. I didn't know what all happened to them, and so anyway, when the sun came up next morning, it was time to get up. I got up and looked at my bed, and it was covered all over with dead bugs. And I counted 35 dead ones on my pillow.
Oh.
And then there was like hundreds of them scattered around all over the bed. Then they charged me for staying all night with them, when I thought they already paid me for staying, but I had to pay them for staying.
How much they charge you?
They charged me $1 a day.
Or not?
To spend the night. I guess that's all.